Hi everyone, and welcome back to Inner Alchemy Conversations. Let me start with saying Happy New Year to, let me start with holding this intention, an intention for unprecedented expansion in your life. Unprecedented benevolent expansion in your life. Expansion that surprises you. Expansion that brings grace in your life in ways you didn't think were possible before. This is my intention for you this year. So happy new year, and thank you for being here with me. Thank you for supporting this work and this community. And I would like to start with sharing with you what we will be discussing in this conversation. And if you've been listening to this podcast, I always consider every single episode of this podcast as a conversation because I truly believe that the energy of the listeners is co-creating with me in this now moment, present or future or even past. There is co-creation that is happening here, and I would like to acknowledge it. This is my way to acknowledge it. So what would I like to talk about during this conversation? I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about non-duality. I'm going to talk about the energy that I perceive for this year, 2022, and how you can benefit from what this energy is trying to bring, in my opinion, again. So I'm inviting you to hold it here, to be extremely curious, to listen with your resonance. And why do I mention the word resonance that often? Because it is a language of energy. In my opinion, we are navigating this revolutionary time or evolutionary time where we are understanding more and more and more and more and more that the unseen part of us is the biggest part of us as human beings on the planet. And that part of us is actually holding so much more power. So beginning to speak fluently the language of energy, using words like resonance, using words like, hey, it is in alignment with my heart, with my soul, I can feel it within myself, is so important. So how can we further that relationship with our energy? In my opinion, it is learning how to navigate your day-to-day life through the lens of non-duality. And I would like to clarify a few words here. I would like to clarify first duality to begin with. What is duality? Duality is very often that perception that can be divided in light or dark, right or wrong, good or bad, just like the two different poles or two may be limiting, but all the very different aspects or polarities that are existing in every now moment through the human experience. So let me just attempt to give you a perspective of duality in that way, in a very conceptual way. A very conceptual way. Now, what is non-duality? And this is a very tricky one because non-duality is a definition that is being, in my opinion, is a definition that is evolving. It is a definition that is evolving. If duality is the paradox between shadow and light, and black and white, if we're going to put it this way, conceptually, I'm inviting you to see non-duality as not attaching your identity to a specific aspect of human consciousness. Not attaching your identity to a specific aspect of human consciousness. Let me just start with this. What does that look like? Some people very often think that non-duality is neutrality. That could be a perspective. It is a safe space, in my opinion. It is a safe space to attempt to be in a place where we are neutral about everything. And I have my own reserves about that perspective for many reasons. The first reason is you are human. Meaning, because you are human, you happen to come with preferences, inclinations, opinions, and opinions very often can lead to judgment. And I will stand in a place where I will say there's not necessarily anything wrong with it. Because you're human, you happen to be equipped with what we will call an ego. And I'm not using ego in a negative way. I'm not using ego here in a way that needs to be suppressed. You know, very often, a lot of spiritual traditions will look at the ego like something that needs to be buried, something that needs to be suppressed, something that needs to be destroyed. And that is another way to lose yourself, in my opinion, in the game of duality, in the game of false spiritual hierarchies. I'm inviting you to think about non-duality as not identifying with a specific part of any spectrum. If, for example, you choose in this now moment as a human being to only identify with the soul essence of you, you might spiritual bypass a whole bunch of things because you might be denying your humanness. And if you choose to identify only as the human, only as the body, or maybe even body-mind, disowning the spirit, what happens is you disown your divinity at the same time. So non-duality is leaning into that place where you are willing to make room for all that you are in this moment, which includes being a human being with an ego. And how can that be empowering? It makes room for all of who you are. It allows your energy to weave more powerfully between the depth of your humanness and the height, the incredible height of your spiritual essence. It creates a beautiful portal of grace between your spirit and your human self. And right there is a whole lot of power that is available to be used in your human experience. So I'm inviting you to think about non-duality as making room for all. Making room for all that you are. For all the brokenness, and relating to all the brokenness with compassion. As much as you're willing to make room for your divinity as best you can, and relating to that with humility. I'm inviting you to really pay attention to this. And I'm inviting you to pay attention to the reason why I'm talking about this is the whole year that we are entering. We are entering a very potent and powerful year, and I'm going to talk a little bit about numerology here. But it is very important to lean into, to understand really the energy that this year is willing to bring. It is really important to also have a decent understanding. And I'm not attempting to say here that I gave you all that there is to give about non-duality, because in my opinion, it takes a whole lifetime to even begin to get and apply and practice non-duality. But at the very least, it gives you some kind of context. So if we keep going in this conversation, let me talk about how this can begin to apply to what you are navigate, what energy this year is bringing. The first thing that I would like to say here is, as you expand, as you are expanding, the duality in your life, and I'm talking about the ratio of shadow and light that you are containing within your consciousness, is also shifting. As you expand, as you grow, as you evolve, as you are able to descend more of the light of your soul into your body, the ratio of shadow and light that you are holding in your consciousness is also shifting. If you ask me, this is what has been happening powerfully over the last 2 years plus. A powerful adjustment and recalibration in the collective ratio of shadow and light. We've seen corruption being exposed in degrees that were never seen before. Corruption in nearly all systems, in medical systems, political systems, educational systems. We've seen the shadows, the collective shadows of humanity being deployed worldwide. And this is because, in my opinion, that ratio of shadow and light has been invited at scale to recalibrate. So I'm inviting you to look at the last 2 years or more, like as that beautiful recalibration. Now we are reaching this year, 2022, 222, three times. I'm going to omit the zero for now because zero is like a neutral number. And some people can often look at zero as a bridge as well. But zero is a neutral number. So we have 2, 2, and 2, 2, 3 times. Meaning 6 if you add all these numbers. 2 times 3. Let's talk about 3, which is a beautiful catalytic energy. So we obtain a 6, which is an energy of harmony. What I would like to say about the energy of this whole year, 2022, is duality getting a place where it harmonizes collectively. So shadows and light finding a new degree of harmony, a new baseline, a new level of status quo. So in my opinion, again, I'm inviting you to hold it somewhere here and to just be curious. In my opinion, we are going to see a lot of things finding balance, harmony. Finding balance and harmony. A lot of things that have to do with your physical reality. At the very least, this is a collective energy. So, of course, it may have an implication in your life because we all navigate this collective field. Or it may not if you are already in a place where you've done so much work on yourself that you're a little bit ahead of the curve, or maybe you're just starting to play with all of these energies within yourself, shadows and light, learning how to integrate more of your shadows and integrate more of your light as well. So my perception of what is going to unfold collectively is a newfound harmony. A newfound harmony. Where some collective shadows are finally integrated. And more of the light of the collective soul of humanity is settling into the field. So there are huge possibilities that are available here. So what is the invitation of times like this? My personal perspective, it is to clear even more unfinished business. And this is the reason why clearing unfinished business is the theme that we will be focusing on in my membership community, the Inner Alchemy Circle. If you would like to look it up, I'm inviting you to go on my website and to check Inner Alchemy Circle. Clearing unfinished business. All the ways your energy is still invested in the past. All the ways your energy is still invested with all the people, invested in all the people that you're resenting, all the people that you have a hard time forgiving, all the people that you owe an apology to, all the people that you have quote unquote betrayed or felt betrayed by, all the ways you have betrayed yourself. and how it is literally creating a scar in your energetic system, leakages in your energetic system. Clearing unfinished business is asking of the energy of your soul to come back here in now moment, to come back in present time. And the more you are willing to do that, the more you are willing to bring the energy of your soul back in present time, the more you reclaim some creative agency in your life. If you ask me, one of the reasons why so many people are stuck or feel stuck or are not able to see a way forward, in my opinion, there is still a degree of unfinished business, something that deserves clearing, something that needs clearing, something that is asking of them to be cleared. A piece of their soul that is reporting day in and day out, hey, you forgot about me here. Hey, it is time you take care of this. Hey, how about you have a conversation with this person? Hey, how about you assert that boundary that was missing here? Hey, how about you walk in this circle, being more of who you are, rather than, holding on to the perspective that you may be rejected for who you are. Hey, how about you let yourself be seen even more? I'm inviting you to just think about that. Because the more you are tending to your own unfinished business, the more what you do is contributing as well to the recalibration that is happening collectively. You are establishing a new baseline of harmony in your life. A new baseline of harmony. In my opinion, if there is only one thing you do as we are starting this new year, if there is only one invitation that would be here, it would be the invitation to clear even more your own unfinished business. Maybe it's a thank you that you haven't voiced to someone who showed up during the last years for you. Maybe it's a gratitude. Maybe it's a commitment that you broke with yourself that is still holding some emotional real estate within you. Maybe there's still some disappointment, self-forgiveness that is missing. And I'm inviting you to really inquire, where is my energy? Where is my energy in this now moment? Where is it going? What is it feeding? What reality is it creating rather than the reality that I desire in this now moment? So I'd like to recap a little bit the whole point of this conversation. We started talking about duality and non-duality. Let me clarify something about it. Non-duality doesn't mean that you do not have preferences, in my opinion. And that you choose to embrace non-duality, which is also the path of unity consciousness, does not mean that you cannot take a stand for yourself. Of course, the invitation is to take a stand for what resonates with you. And at the same time, there is an attribute that is so needed when you embrace the path of non-duality, which is compassion. Compassion means, can I see the other side? Can I see compassionately the other side? Can I see the other side and even open my heart to the other side? Can I create room in my heart for the other side of this spectrum that I'm looking at? Take every single issue that is happening in your life right now. Can I see the other side? And maybe the human self within you is not going to be the one that will be capable of seeing. Maybe because there is so much wounding. There is so much energy invested in self-righteousness. There is so much energy invested in wanting to be right. I'm inviting you to rise above the perception of the ego and to start looking at what you are perceiving as an issue through the lens of your soul. You're going to find out. You start perceiving things in an archetypal way. You start perceiving realities that your ego could just not accept. And you almost start seeing the validity in these perspectives as well. And that doesn't mean that you have to disown what you prefer or what resonates with you. No. It just means that it is expanding you to become more, I'm going to use the term sovereign, more of a sovereign person that can walk in this 3D reality without being depleted by things that you do not like or things that challenge what you resonate most with. You are transcending the identity of belief, and you are embracing the reality of unity, the truth we are all one, in a very literal way. We are all one, in a very literal way. And you're also seeing that there is true partnership between ego and soul. Now, this very often gets me a lot of fire in spiritual circles, but I'm going to speak it. There is true partnership between ego and soul. And what do I mean by partnership? I'm inviting you to look at your ego as a part of you that has a responsibility of survival, a guardian of 3D reality. A guardian of 3D reality. And I'm inviting you to look at your soul as that part of you that is connected, a part of all that is. The biggest part of you. And between that ego self, call it lower self if you want, call it human self, give it whatever name you want, and that higher self, or that soul, there is a mediator. Call that part inner self if you want. Self-concept if you want. Call that part even. There is in there the observer within you. The part of you that mediates power. The more you are able to understand that there is an appropriate and valid system that is here, that in every given moment you get to mediate power, to be in this place, central space, where you are willing to make room for all. The more you reclaim your power, the more you understand, hey, part of my purpose here is to expand the definition of what safety means for me. And the more you expand the definition of what safety means for you, the more you have the ego part of you that is surrendering even more to the true potency of the power of your soul. And that potency becomes more available in the now moment. Part of clearing unfinished business is also that. This is also this work that you're doing. All the ways your power has been leaked in ego-based perspectives that do not serve the magnificence that is trying to unfold through you in this moment is also what you're doing. So 2022, a year of harmonizing duality, I'm inviting you to think about what it means in your whole life. What are the places where I'm still dragging unfinished business? What are the shadows that are still terrifying me? Where are the places where I'm still leading from my wounds rather than leading from my heart? And really just ask yourself that. And if you are truly dedicated to this work of beautiful transformation, I'm inviting you to check Integrate, which is a 6-month journey where I will be taking a very select group of people that are very, very committed to lead their lives from their power, from their heart, and not their wounds. To integrate not only their shadows, but also integrating their light, integrating their golden shadows. And what I mean by golden shadow is the light that they were burying in order to feel safe. Really reclaiming that light. And here's another invitation. Another powerful invitation of this year. Learning the sacred language of surrender. The sacred practice of surrender, in my opinion, this is also what this year is inviting. So if this is resonating with you, I'm inviting you to go to my website, wherever you're watching this, you go to my website and you look for Integrate. And if that resonates with you, please join us. Thank you for listening to this episode. Happy New Year once again, and I'll talk to you soon.